What's up guys, DrFeelGood here, back again with another video prescription. And today I want to talk about the JoyCons, a highly praised and probably the most advanced controller developed for a video game console. For me, I think the JoyCons have great potential, and I do not want to see that potential squandered. I really don't. However, on the opposite end, they are slightly unbalanced. And no, I'm not talking about in terms of weight. I'm talking about in terms of features. And I'm going to go over both these sides with you, okay? For example, I think the JoyCons should contain identical functionality, regardless of the play mode. What do I mean? Okay. As of right now, the left Joy-Con contains the capture button, and the right Joy-Con contains the home button. Not really a big deal, right? Here's where it gets interesting. The right Joy-Con contains an IR sensor on the bottom, and the left one does not. Alright? That's a point for the right Joy-Con. The right Joy-Con also contains an NFC reader, while the left Joy-Con does not. Another point for the right Joy-Con. So just on that alone, the right Joy-Con is essentially more important than the left. Now, of course, the rest of the features, you know, the gyro, accelerometer, the HD rumble is all identical. It's all the same. They both have it. But those two particular features are located only in the right Joy-Con. It's kind of weird. I would think they would split them up. Maybe put the NFC reader on the left Joy-Con and the IR sensor on the right. But that's not the case. They're both in the right Joy-Con. I'm not sure why they chose that. Now here's why I am bringing this up. In regards to the IR sensor, although this is not a deal breaker, I am sure that some people who own the game 1-2 Switch would agree, or at least can agree, that the game will be slightly more fun and competitive if the left Joy-Con had an IR sensor built in as well. Why do I say that? I bring this up primarily for one game in particular, one mini game on 1-2 Switch, and that is the eating contest game. Those that own the game know that you take the right Joy-Con bottom portion, you put it directly in front of your mouth, roughly, I say 2 to 4 inches from your mouth, and once it reads the shape of your mouth and things like that, the distance and shape, you're to pretend you're eating a virtual sandwich for about 10 seconds. Look it up. It's actually a pretty fun and entertaining game. The fun comes in watching the facial expressions of people straining themselves to eat virtual food. But it's hilarious. So with that being said, you want to play the game one person at a time. Now, of course, it keeps your record sandwiches that you eat, things like that, but it's one person at a time. I'd rather it be more like the milk game, where 2 people are playing simultaneously. However, for that to be possible, you need 2 Joy-Cons that have IR sensors. So why not have an IR sensor in the in the left Joy-Con as well, where 2 people can face each other while chomping down on sandwiches, virtual sandwiches. To me, that would be more fun than it already is. Now, this is not a knock against the game or the mini game itself. This is not a knock against 1-2 Switch or the eating contest mini game. This is just a way to make it a little bit better. It's not a terrible game. It's actually very fun. This will make it better in my opinion, and more convenient. Instead of having to pass the controller around, you can, if you want, you can see 2 people eating simultaneously. Okay, that's all I'm saying. And in regards to the NFC reader, that's only located in the right Joy-Cons analog stick. Okay? Now, I can admit, you don't need two NFC readers on a controller. You just don't. I can even admit that is unnecessary. However, this is why I think it would be important. Let's say you're playing in the Share the Joy local co-op mode. Try not to laugh. That's what they called it, not me. Where each player has an individual Joy-Con in their hand turned to the side. And let's say you're playing a game that has amiibo support. In addition to that, let's just say, hypothetically, you each want to scan in a different amiibo to what you're bringing over your player file or your preferences, or maybe you want to access certain content or a character, whatever the case may be. Certain weapon, skin, whatever. It's your amiibo personally. Left person has, let's say it's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Left person wants to play with, I don't know, maybe the Pac-Man helmet for their me. The right person wants to play with, I don't know, let's just say the Donkey Kong or whatever you get for that. I can't recall. Well, wouldn't it be nice if each player can scan their amiibo on a respective Joy-Con without having to hand it to the other person to scan? That would be great. I would love if I'm playing some fighting game that supports amiibo, that I can say, okay, here's my amiibo. I want to scan in my amiibo on my Joy-Con. You have yours. You can scan in your amiibo on your Joy-Con. And that's that. Not the left person having to wait till the right person does and then have the right person holding the right Joy-Con to scan theirs in as well. No. It would just be easier if both controllers had it. That's all I'm saying. But that alone, as I said, you don't need two NFC readers. But in that case, which I'm not saying, even I don't do that often. The Share the Joy, I don't do it super often. I probably do it more so than others. But still, it's not something I do often. I will admit that. But that is less cumbersome. I think we can all admit that. All right, what's next? Also, when it comes to playing games in a Share the Joy mode, if the player using the right Joy-Con wants to take a screenshot, they have to tell the person holding the left Joy-Con to do it. And I'm pretty sure when it comes to playing games such as the upcoming Pokken Tournament DX or even the current Ultra Street Fighter 2, Bomberman R, any game that supports local co-op via separate Joy-Cons, no one wants to have to rely on someone else to take a photo. But of course, as of right now, the capture button is only located on the left Joy-Con. I don't want to tell someone in my household, hey man, press the button, I want to, get a picture of this. You want to be able to take it whenever you want. Now I know some of you may be thinking, well, if you're playing local co-op, let's say you're playing with a friend that's come over to visit or a family member, do you want them filling up your memory with all these useless pictures? We can always go back and erase them, but even still, if they want to see something, it could be something you may like too. They may capture a picture that you didn't think about and it looks pretty cool. It may capture something of a nice effect on screen and you want to post it. It's good that it's there, but that's besides the point. I don't want to tell anyone to do that for me. I believe Nintendo should create some type of patch or update which enables the right Joy-Con to capture a photo in one or two ways. And this actually will go for both Joy-Cons if they create this patch. Here's the first way. Either when the Joy-Cons are turned to the side, either you allow the home button to capture photos if you give it a quick press, as you do on the capture button on the left Joy-Con now. So you just quickly tap the home button and it'll capture a screenshot on the right Joy-Con. And then to access the home menu, of course, you just long press the home button. That's method number one. Method number two would be to delegate the capture functionality to one of the original shoulder buttons. So R or ZR, or in the case of the left Joy-Con, when it's turned to the side, L or ZL. You know, the shoulder buttons, they end up being on the side where your palm, the inside of your palms are when they turn to the side. If you delegate the capture functionality to that, then of course you can let the home button on the right Joy-Con remain a home button, and then on the left Joy-Con, the capture button becomes the home button. To me, those are two scenarios which create an easy fix and create more versatility. It makes the Joy-Cons balanced when played separately by two players. So, once again, method A, delegate the capture button. Delegate the capture button to one of the original shoulder buttons. Or B, you make it to where to capture a photo, you quickly press the home button on the right Joy-Con, and of course the same thing would go for the left Joy-Con. You quickly press the capture button, and to go to the home menu, you long press the home button on the right Joy-Con, and you long press the capture button for the left Joy-Con, but same functionality. And this will only work if they're played separately in co-op mode. Seems like an easy fix to me. It is not asking for much. What else? I think the Joy-Cons would benefit from 2 additional shoulder buttons, similar to what they did with the new 3DS. See, not all games rely on just 6 buttons. Or in the Joy-Cons case, it would technically be 7 if you include the fact you can click down on the analog sticks. That's literally a 7 button if you want. And although each Joy-Con respectively does have 8 buttons, even when turned to the side, they disable the original shoulder buttons, at least as far as I can tell, because of their location, and I can understand that. But I think they should put 2 more shoulder buttons, whether it be on the inside or the outside of the original ones they have right now. That would be very cool. And I know not many 3DS games even take advantage of the new buttons, but still, most games today, especially the more advanced or core titles, pretty much require 8 or more buttons. If you include the pressing of the analog sticks, it requires 10. Games like Splinter Cell and Call of Duty and Battlefield, they require 8 to 10 buttons to function. So to me, if they were to, I don't know, either make it to where either add in 2 more shoulder buttons to the side of the Joy-Con, or they can slightly redesign the Joy-Con to where maybe the shoulder strap attachment had some pins on it that will replicate the functionality of the 2 disabled shoulder buttons, the original ones. So let's say you slide on the shoulder strap and it clicks into place. Then it will have 2 more buttons at the top of that strap add-on, which would duplicate or replicate the functionality of the R and ZR buttons that are off to the side. That will be great. Then in that way, essentially, you now have an 8-button controller. I just don't want, because right now, since typically it's used as a 6-button controller, I mean, that's good for Ultra Street Fighter. It's good for probably even Pokken Tournament DX. But what about other complicated games? What about local co-op with Call of Duty? If that comes to Nintendo Switch. I would like to be able to play local co-op, by sharing the joy as well. Because if this system is being promoted as a one that comes standard with 2 controllers, essentially, then what about the games that require 8 buttons? What do you do about the other 2 buttons? It will become more difficult to try to, should I say, compress functionality to other buttons. So to me, either 2 new buttons or using a wrist strap to add functionality to the Joy-Con would be great. So Nintendo, I really do hope you're listening. And this is not a shot. I don't want to see the Joy-Con technology, or should I say potential, to be squandered. I don't want second, third party, or even Nintendo. I don't want them to omit the share the Joy co-op mode because this game requires 8 buttons and each Joy-Con only has 6. I don't want that. I want that to always be an option. I know some people may be thinking to themselves, well, I have a Pro Controller, so I can use a Pro Controller. I can hand somebody else a Joy-Con grip. That's cool. But what if someone really only has the Nintendo Switch that came with 2 Joy-Cons and they want to play with someone? Not everyone has the money or has gone out and bought a $70 Pro Controller or a set of $80 Joy-Cons. Not everyone has done that. So I'm just saying, I'm being considerate. This is me saying, hey, this would be an easy fix, but this would more so make your system look like an even greater deal, knowing that regardless of the game that's being released on a console, if the game supports local co-op, the Joy-Cons can still function as a full controller despite the amount of buttons, because still it has 8 buttons there. Let's see. In cases like Splatoon 2 and Breath of the Wild, I think players should be allowed to choose which Joy-Con provides motion control and not simply default to the right Joy-Con. So I've heard in Splatoon 2, I think it's actually true, of course, that if you play using the Joy-Cons in a grip, it automatically, or I think even outside the grip, it automatically defaults the motion controls to the right Joy-Con. You can't switch it. Nothing's wrong with that. This is not me saying that's a bad thing. But what if you prefer it to be the left Joy-Con? What if when it comes to motion controls, you're better with the left? That should be an option. They're both individual controllers. So why not be able to say, hey, make the left one the motion one? There should be no difference, right? Because that means when playing Splatoon, the right Joy-Con is doing more work, essentially more so than the left. So that means the battery is going to die a lot sooner than in the left Joy-Con. I'm just saying, like, you should give it an option. I know if you choose the left Joy-Con, it will be the same situation but reverse. But even still, it should be an option, because I know people that like to play games with the Joy-Cons in individual hands. And if a person is better with their left hand over their right when it comes to motion controls, or they just have a preference, that should be an option. Just like the Wii gave us. When it came to some of their games, they didn't design every game to be played with the Wiimote in the right hand and the nunchuck in the left. It could be either or. It was universal. It was ambidextrous. Either hand was okay. It did not matter. So, in my opinion, this can definitely be a thing. Give us the option. Make it where it's a question. Hey, you pick up Splatoon, you put the Joy-Cons in the grip, or even keep them separately. Hey, you want motion control to be delegated to the left Joy-Con or the right? It's that simple. But these are things, like I said, they could help the system. They could help the Joy-Cons grow. Make them more flexible, more versatile. This is not me taking a dig at the system. I love my Nintendo Switch. I have hundreds upon hundreds of hours into the, in the game system, and more to come. My wife has hundreds of hours. All right, my Switch has probably already seen well over 1,000 hours of play in 6 months. But I'm just simply saying, just think about it. These things will make the JoyCons far better. They're great now, but I just don't want to see their potential be squandered like the gamepad was on a Wii U, in which developers didn't take advantage of it. Even Nintendo just kind of pushed it to the wayside, and a little bit. It's especially seen with Smash Brothers 4, where it wasn't utilized at all except for off-TV play. It really wasn't. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. And as I always say, keep it gaming.